Hey everyone, this is Patrick, and I'm just got back from an open house which I held today on Saturday, August 2nd, 2025. I had this property here is the property that I was sitting on Native Springs. This is in Irvine. All of these properties are on Irvine, and I pulled the all the inventory of condos. Here's the criteria that I used right here. So I used 1.1 million or less, at least two bedrooms, at least two bathrooms, and searched in the city of Irvine just to see what the inventory was. And what I want to do here is just point out a few things that you can do yourself when you're looking at properties. It's really fascinating. So you'll see the different tabs across the bottom, and that's what the inventory is sorted by. So this is price per square foot, and that's this column right here. So you'll see it here up at the top. That's the lowest price per square foot. And if you go all the way down to the bottom, this is the highest price per square foot. And you have to uh, just note here that this is in Turtle Rock. TR stands for Turtle Rock. That's a very, very nice exclusive neighborhood. So it makes some sense that this is a high price. It's also, this is a relatively small square footage. And what you'll notice is that the lower square footage tend to have higher price per square foot. So if you go back up here to the very top, you'll see these are big units. This one here, 582, that's a very low price per square foot, but it's a big property, 1,800 square feet. Now, I haven't seen this property in person, but I think this thing is worth taking a look at. It's also interesting to see what neighborhoods these are all in. So this is in Portola Springs, which is pretty far east. That's if you go east of the 405, you go east of the 5, and then you pass like Cypress Hill or Cypress Village, you pass Stonegate, and then Woodbury East, and then you get to Portola Springs, which is right along the north-south artery of Portola. So that's on the eastern side, so it's a little bit warmer. But you'll see all of these AA. That stands for, here's what all these different neighborhoods stand for here on the right hand side. So this is the airport area. And look at all this AA, airport, 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 airport. And also, you'll also notice these are all the same property. Look at this Michelson Drive, 3131 Michelson. Here's 3141 Michelson, 3141, 3131, and then there's a few down here, 3141. These are all the same two buildings that are showing up again and again. And you'll see the first one, which is right here, is priced at a per square foot rate of $695. But the most expensive one, which is just one floor higher, it's on an adjacent building. This is 3131. This is 3141. But this one's the sixth floor, this one's on the seventh floor, and this one's priced at $751 per square foot. So this thing here is overpriced, in my opinion. And this one here is probably worth taking a look at because the price per square foot is lower. And then as well, if you scroll down a little bit more, Cypress Village is CV. You see all these different communities as you go down the list to see where these different properties are. But in any case, you can pull this data, or more importantly, you can have an agent pull this data for you from the MLS, and we can do some really interesting things with this data. And that's what I want to point out to you. So the biggest one is DOM. That stands for days on market. So let's go to that tab here, and this is sorted by days on market. So this is literally less than 10 days on market. And down here, these properties have been on the market for months and months and months. So look, here's the situation with the market that we have today. People are not taking advantage. This is a fantastic market for buyers. It's not such a great market for sellers right now, but it's a great market for buyers. But buyers are not taking advantage of the opportunity because they're all waiting for the sellers to reduce price. Don't wait for sellers to reduce price. Just offer low. Go to these properties that are, say, 30 days old or older. All of these properties have been on the market for more than a month. These sellers are ready to drop price. I guarantee that they are open. It just is going to take a buyer to come in and say, okay, I'll offer less than asking, right? And that's what, here's the problem. These properties are not hosting open houses anymore. The places that are hosting open houses are these ones that are still relatively new. And this is the one that I did here today at Native Springs. So that's probably on the outside margin of where open houses are taking place. But below that, you're not going to see a lot of open houses. So the only way you can see these properties is to get your agent, someone like me, to make appointments to do a private showing, a private tour, and you can pick out precisely the properties that match your criteria. And we can set appointments for 4 or 5, even 6 in a day, and we can knock it all out on a Tuesday, on a Thursday. We can do it on a weekend, but chasing open houses on a weekend is a waste of time. It's extremely inefficient. So the opportunity is to get an agent and do this scan, whatever your scan is, whatever your criteria is, and search for the properties that have been on the market for a long time. No one wants to touch these properties. Everyone thinks they're toxic. They're not toxic. There's great properties in here. They're just priced too high. The listing agent of these properties, or maybe the seller, is trying to ask for too much money. That's why they're sitting on the market, or they weren't marketed properly. That doesn't mean they're bad properties. This is the opportunity. The opportunity for you to get a great deal on a great piece of real estate is to go to these older listings that no one else wants to touch. Do it with your agent, because they're not hosting open houses anymore, and place an offer that's below asking. And we can work together to be like, okay, what's a reasonable amount to pay for this property? And a lot of it is going to boil down to the price per square foot. We can look at the comparable properties, figure out what's the right amount to quote, what's the right amount to offer, and we can make that offer to the seller. And I guarantee it's going to start a conversation. They're going to be open, and they're going to give you a counter offer, right? That's the opportunity. So let's just look at these other two tabs. This is the same list. This is all the same list, but this is sorted by the price, which is this column right here. So this is the cheapest condo that matches our criteria. Currently in Irvine on the 2nd of August, 2025, this is the cheapest list price. And then you go all the way down. This is the most, and I just stopped it at 1.1 million. Believe me, there's plenty that are higher than 1.1 million, but this is the highest one that we have on this property. And again, you can look at like which neighborhoods are showing up in the more expensive units versus the cheaper units. It's very useful to do this type of research, because it gives you a really good kind of bird's eye view of what's happening in the community, in Irvine in this case, and understand what the market is and what you're quoting on. And finally, I'll just do the square foot, which is, where is that now? Here it is right here. So these are the smallest units right here. This is that one in Turtle Rock is the second one. The second smallest one has the highest price per square foot. But again, that's because it's Turtle Rock. I'm sure this is a beautiful property. And then you go all the way down. These are the largest units right here. And this one is literally the cheapest per square foot, is this one on Neptune. So this is the type of information that you can get from the MLS and from an agent who knows what they're looking for. If you would like to see any of these properties in Irvine, or any other community, or run a different criteria and get an Excel spreadsheet like this, I know that it's very left brain, and it might be boring for some, but when you're just starting your search for a good home, if you're a home buyer, this is the type of research that you want to do, so you understand what price per square foot are we targeting, what neighborhoods are we targeting, where are we going to find value, and what's happening currently in today's market. That's what I do all the time, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So if this is something that I can help you with, we can set appointments for properties that are not hosting open houses anymore, and take a look at some of these older properties that have been on the market for 30 days or more, or maybe 60 days or more. These bottom ones here, believe me, you put in a lower offer, they're going to consider it. We can't go insanely below and just insult them. We can't do that. But the question you need to ask is, what's the lowest that I can quote and still get a counter offer? That's what you're trying to do, is to put the lowest offer in that you can and still get a counter offer that starts the conversation, and then there's a negotiation that takes place. And that's also part of my job as an agent, is to facilitate that negotiation to get the best deal possible for my clients. In any case, if that's something you'd like to do, get a hold of me. You can reach me here on YouTube, or my phone number and contact information are in the description. And also a link to this file. You can actually download this file. The link is in the description below, and you can take a look at it for yourself. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.